One day, a man suddenly realized that his body was shrinking. It all started when he noticed his wedding ring inexplicably fall to the floor. Even though he was originally a tall 6 feet, 1.8 meters, he had now become the same height as his wife, about 5 feet, 1.5 meters. At first, Paul didn't think much of it, but as time went on, he kept shrinking. Eventually, he was reduced to the size of a mosquito. As Paul continued to shrink, the spiders and insects in his house turned into terrifying monsters. He went to a local hospital to get checked out, but all his tests came back normal. His bones and blood showed no abnormalities. The shrinking continued to worsen, and after exhausting all medical treatments with no results, Paul found himself overwhelmed with medical bills. He had no choice but to return home and rest. Before long, Paul was the size of a cat. His wife, fearing for his safety, had to throw the cat outside. She even told everyone that Paul had died and that she planned to sell their house. This filled Paul with rage, as he felt his wife no longer saw him as a person, but rather as a burden. As time went on, Paul kept shrinking, eventually ending up in his daughter's toy house. Initially, Paul thought it was fun, as he didn't have to go to work and could spend all his time with his daughter. But soon, it stopped being fun. His wife wouldn't even let him sleep in their bed, fearing that if he rolled over, he might be crushed. The more his wife treated him like this, the more Paul wanted to climb into bed. The next day, he attached a fish hook to a string, hoping to use it to climb into bed. But just as he was about to try, a cat's meow came from outside the door. The cat his wife had thrown out had returned. The sight of the cat now terrified Paul because in his tiny form, the cat seemed like a giant. He tried to run, but accidentally cut himself with the fish hook. To make matters worse, the cat was now in hunting mode, creeping toward him. Panicked, Paul grabbed a needle for defense and ran, but his tiny legs were no match for the cat, which soon caught up with him. In the chaos, Paul fell into the basement. He tried calling out to his wife, but with his body now so small, his voice was no louder than a mosquito's buzz. His wife couldn't hear him. When she saw the cat had returned, she realized something was terribly wrong. Later that night, Paul found a rag to cover himself and managed to survive the night in the basement. The next morning, he was woken up by his daughter's voice. It gave him hope. He quickly grabbed a piece of chalk and wrote his name on the basement door, hoping to get her attention. As his stomach growled, Paul searched the basement for food. He eventually found a mousetrap with a large piece of cheese on it. With great effort, he threw the needle aside and devoured the cheese. But just as he was enjoying the meal, he noticed a giant shadow looming behind him. Realizing there were spiders everywhere in the basement, Paul quickly searched for a safer shelter. He spotted a cardboard box nearby and wet it with water. He poked a hole in it and blocked it to create a safe space. For the night, he managed to sleep in relative safety. However, after several days, there was no sign of his wife or daughter upstairs. It was clear that they had accepted the reality of his death. From then on, Paul would pry open a bottle of wine every day to drown his sorrows in the basement, but the terrifying reality remained. He was still shrinking. Realizing that soon he would be smaller than a spider, Paul prepared to use the needle to fight the spiders. But just then, something unexpected and dramatic happened.